ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
I'm interested majorly in broadcasting.
Broadcasting.
However, I wouldn't mind trying my hand in the print media.
Okay, so I'd like to mention to us now that the two work together. You can't do one without the other, even though some don't like to be called reporters. I'm a reporter. That's who I will always be. I'm an editor. I can record, I can report, I can write, I can produce, I can present. So there's no area of broadcasting where you talk about and you don't find me, even in print. I write. I have an online magazine, an online publication. I'm an author of a book. So I would like for you to gather a piece of everything that you can when we talk about the media and hold on to it, because it's something that's going to help you in the course of your career. So that's a good one. So whatever I say here, it's going to have to relate to either broadcasting or print. So the idea is media. You must learn how to write. You have to be a very good reporter for you to be a very good broadcaster. Being a reporter doesn't mean you have to get out there and say you want to go outside to get to report. It's about production, putting your thoughts together down on paper. You must always have a script before you can go on air. So let's just start out with this. What is broadcast journalism? For those who don't know, it's simply an individual who reports news stories through online platforms, television, or radio, and may report topics. There's noise.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Everybody mute the mic, please. Maria, that one, please mute your mic. Maria, that one, please mute your mic.
Should I go on?
Yes, ma'am, please.
I'm distracted. Class captain, do something about that mic. I guess you can mute people's mics from where you are.
Yes, ma'am. I want to read no.
Hello. Okay, they do research and conduct interviews to investigate news stories, and also they relay the information accurately to the public. So that's what broadcast journalists do. Broadcast journalists also work under tight schedules and they conduct follow-up reporting on their assigned stories. In some instances, broadcast journalists may operate technical and recording equipment necessary for covering live stories in the field. Are we having a class or we're in the market? Can somebody tell me what's going on there?
Somebody has a mic unmuted.
Oh, my God.
Okay, Maria, good to go.
Okay, let's go. So let's just look at this. Preparation is key if you want to become a comfortable broadcast or media professional. It calls for, being prepared about what it is that you want to do. And the tips that we're going to get to share here should help you prepare to work, effectively as a media person, whether a reporter or a broadcaster. When we talk about broadcasting, you're thinking about those who will be live on air, either presenting program or reading news. So as I said to you, the two work hand in hand. You must understand what that person is writing in the newsroom for you to understand how you're going to put it across to those who are listening. So the first thing is you must be able to tell the truth. That is for those who are thinking of going into reporting. Never tell a lie. Always tell the truth. If you don't know or you're not sure, say so and don't guess, okay? Your credibility is at stake, and being truthful does not mean telling all that you know. You've got to use your very good judgment. That's for those who will be producing programs and you're on radio or you're on television, you're presenting a live program. Yes, you want to tell some truth about yourself when you're talking, when you're sharing things with your viewer or your listener. It doesn't mean you tell all or tell everything, or you just share something. It gives people the opportunity and gives them the temerity to also open up and speak about themselves. Now, anything you say to someone who's interviewing you or you're interviewing someone, it's a fair game. So if you don't want it reported as someone who's talking to someone, or you're being spoken to, you ask a question and you want somebody to answer, never ask them the question that they would not want to see right there on radio. At every point in time, working with a media organization, I just believe that the people I'm speaking to or speaking with or chatting to in this class are people who are looking forward to working in different media organizations tomorrow. You need to understand that you've got to be prepared. It's about doing your homework. It makes you a better source, less nervous. And before that chat you're going to have with someone, anticipate the possible questions and think through your answers. That's the truth. I've had people go to interview someone and they're asking the person, please, may we meet you or introduce yourself? Well, when you meet me and say that to me, can we meet you? Or you tell me to introduce myself, I just feel that you are someone who's not prepared. When I prepare to go for interviews, I've done my research and I'm coming to you. We're having the conversation. I'm talking to my listener. Today we have Ify Onyegbule with us in the studio. She's a fellow of so and so organization. She works as the Director General. She is the Director General of the Imo Broadcasting Corporation. All through her career in broadcasting, she has done this, that, and that. You won't tell me that I'm on your program. I am the on-air personality at that time on your show. You're telling me to introduce myself. That's a very improper way of trying to, get someone to have a conversation. So you must always be prepared. Ask yourself, is this a controversial or sensitive topic to deal or talk about with this person? How will the answers the person give you be perceived? And how best can the person explain some of the things that you're trying to ask them? I'll share with you a particular time I interviewed the lady that you know as Shan George. She had so much stories to talk about how she was married off even before she turned 20. She cried on that program because I touched some salient issues that, took her way back, even from when she ran away from her husband, back to her mom, and the woman sent her back to say, look, you're married, go to the man, whatever happens there, you bear the consequences. This was a child. So you found out that she was crying right there on the show, and it made it, it was very intriguing for people to watch. So you must always be prepared and understand what it is that you're talking about when you meet with someone, either one-on-one or you have them on air and they're getting to answer your questions on that interview. So get background materials for what it is that you're going to talk about, and be sure that the things that you have are truly the facts of the matter. Before that chat you're going to have with someone, identify the 3 main points you want to make. For each point, you develop the responses that support, look forward to those responses that support what you're trying to put out. There's different types of interviews. There are different types of interviews that you will get to do, but you must be sure of which one it is that you're going for. And it depends on the person that you're sitting down to talk to. Now, there are deadlines. Many of us do not understand whether we're just starting in a career or we've been there for over 2 decades or 3 decades. There are deadlines for people, and you must be able to meet it. And when we talk about people, we're looking at your editors. By the way, as a media person, You're not just going to be working by yourself. There will be producers that you get to work with. There are line managers that you get to work with. So it simply means that you're not working alone. You must have that ability to get to work with people. Now, while you're on air, this can happen. So many of you will go, whether you're going for youth service, whether you're starting work someday, you will have that opportunity to be on air and calls are coming. How do you manage this? This is a class on its own. You must understand who's this person that's calling. From the first thing this person says to you, it will give you an idea of what this thing or what the person is going to talk about. So you anticipate. And if it's something that's going to get you into trouble with the kind of places that you will be working in, you must understand how you can get to tone it down, what it is the person is trying to talk about. Your responses will come to mind now when we talk about, having a conversation with someone, whether as a reporter or a broadcast journalist, as many would want to be called. When you ask someone a question and the person says, look, I want to pass on this. Yes, there are ways to go about it. People get angry and they keep hitting the person with it. No, there's a gentleman called Stephen Sacco. You need to search him out. It's off the BBC and get to watch some of his interviews. He had the opportunity of interviewing our former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, a couple of times. And there were hard questions that he asked, and the president wanted to parry some of those questions. But Stephen was always coming back. He goes round, he still comes back to the same question. Your Excellency, I'd like for you to answer this and that. We were talking about this, you didn't give me a clear answer, but some just keep hitting you and hitting you with it. That's not the way to go about it. So you must find a way, because that person you're speaking to will always look for a way to dodge whatever question it is that you are asking. There was another young lady, I think one of these international news broadcasters, that station were asking, the lady there was asking the WTO president now, that's Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, was asking her some questions that had to do with finance here in Nigeria. And she was hitting it, she was making the woman look, she wanted to mess her up. But there was a way that, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala brought her back into the conversation, situated the matter, educated her as the case may be. And the lady understood that, look, sometimes when you interview people, the people you interview, they have an idea what it is that they're talking about. So you need to anticipate. There are such people who will come to lecture you on the job if you don't know what it is that you're doing. Now, broadcast journalist skills, these are skills that you need to acquire, okay? You have to understand that the skills need to be, these are things that you need to garner, whether by reading or by watching people or by, being mentored. You sit and watch someone who's doing the job and you get mentored in the process. You must be able to pay attention to detail. You must be able to communicate and have public speaking skills. There are two different things. Communication. They say half of the things that you say, when people perceive it, it is from the tone of your voice. How do you get to use your voice? You talk about your tone, your pitch, your pause, your prestige pause as it is. All of these things matter when it is that you're communicating with someone. You must also have the public speaking skills. Someone asks, why do I need public speaking skills? Some of the people we have in this class today, someday will be standing and they are masters of ceremonies, different ceremonies as it is. And you need to be able to gather those skills when we talk about public speaking. You must be creative. You must have storytelling abilities. That's what I always tell people, whether you're talking to a live audience or you're right there on radio, or even if you're writing, you must be able to paint a picture. You're using your words to paint a picture so that people have an idea what it is you're doing. And I'll share with you. There's something called a stand-upper when you're on TV. You see the people with their microphone, they're standing and doing a report. It's called a stand-upper. You're standing exactly where it is that particular event is happening, and you're giving a report of what it is that's going on there. You must be able to paint pictures with your words. As I speak to you now, I'm standing at You give an idea of where it is you're standing. I can see this, I can see that here, and this is the place where that activity happened. It's like you want to go back to tell a story of what happened there. You're giving that picture. So it's about you having the storytelling ability so that people can follow through and it looks like they were there when it was happening. You must have the ability to work well under pressure. That is the truth. Whatever you face as a broadcaster, broadcast journalist, media person, uncertain things will happen. That's the truth. Uncertainties will definitely happen. I had a boss who was going to read the news. He didn't know that the death of his father was part of the bulletin, and they handed it over to him at 5 p.m. This is the news bulletin, and the man was reading it and got to the stage where he had to read the obituary of his father. He read it, but of course, after that, he broke down and he cried his eyes out. For me, it happened to me. I had a boss, Momo Kubanji, and I knew when he was ill. And the man passed. His program was supposed to go on 7 p.m. that day, and I was just the person. Said, look, you're the one who's going to present this program. I read the news announcing his passing, and I had to do that program. After the news, of course, I went somewhere and broke down, and I cried my eyes out. But as a broadcast journalist, presenter, whatever you are, you must be able to compose yourself well, be able to work under pressure. Nobody needs to understand what you're going through, especially not the listener or the viewer. You must find a way to do your job without allowing what it is that you're facing, interfere with the job that you're doing. I used to have a teacher, Veronica Osawere. For those who are, a lot of people know her those days. Osawere says to you, whatever it is you're facing when you're coming to work, hang it by the door. When you're leaving, you can just take the cloak, wear it, then go where it is you're going. So it means that everything you are facing, broadcasting is acting. You understand? Being a journalist is acting. You must know how to play every role wherever you find yourself. So you must be able to work under pressure and meet deadlines. Time management. That's another skill that you need to have. For time management, for those who are going to venture into news reading, you can't tell me you want to read the news at 1 and you're coming into the studio at 5 minutes to 1 and you're starting the news at 3 minutes past 1 and you're going on air to say it's 3 minutes past the hour of 1, here is the news at 1. That doesn't make any sense. So we need to understand that it's important for you to manage your time well. If you have a program that says it starts at 5, or we have this talk that starts at 4 p.m. I've been here 20, 30 minutes before the time, pop in and pop out and see what's going on. And I'm glad that I saw some persons, as I came on Zoom. So I'm a very time conscious person, and you must be very time conscious. It will help you. People will observe, and it will take you a long way. It will take you a long way when we talk about the job. You must be able to research, have the skills to research. Research is important. Before I came on here today, I had put something on, what's it called now? Chat GPT, which is what I tell people. Sometimes you go to Chat GPT, you put in something there, you're saying to Chat GPT, I need this. It brings out quite a number of things that you can get to talk about. But you need to understand also that there are some things you want to put across as a human. ChatGPT cannot tell the stories of me and the job that I have done. These are personal stories. So ChatGPT will not be able to do that. So when you're doing your research, gather everything that you need and back it up with personal stories. I have a lot of these stories that I get to share with people, of course, for someone who's been in the job or been in the business in the last 23 years. So whatever you research, you get from here, you get from there, put it together and marry it with the experience that you're going to get in the course of your job. And also, some of the things that you have faced in the course of life can come in when you're talking about your work. Now, let's look at the issue of problem-solving capabilities. As a broadcaster, you must have that. That's the truth. How are you able to solve this problem? When I remember when I used to present a program, the game show in Lagos, I used to have, what's it called, teachers now, heads of schools call me to say, Madam, our children are going into this exam. How do we answer so question? The ones I don't know, I'll say, give me some time. I'll go and check it out. I'll find a way get the answer, and show them exactly how I arrived at that answer. You must be able to solve some problems. For some who want to go into relationship issues, talking about it, you must find a way to link yourself with counselors, relationship experts, and all of that, so that they're able to profile solutions to what it is that the people would want to hear. You must have the ability to work well as part of a team. No man is an island. Here in IBC, I have a staff of 119, and I have freelancers who are about 28, 30 of them. So in all, I have almost 150 people who work with me as staff. And it's not a job that I can do alone by myself. So what I do is I bring the ideas, I bring their own ideas, we marry the ideas that we have, we find a way to push it forward, and we succeed together as a team. You must have writing skills. As someone just spoke to me then and said to me, oh, I'd love to do broadcasting, but I also want to learn to write. You must cultivate the ability to write. It makes a lot of sense. That way, no one can bully you on the job. You understand what it is you're saying because you wrote it yourself. You must always write your script. It's about you researching and putting it together. You must have the interviewing skills. I used to read a lot of books about interviewing from Larry King. You need to look out for those books and find what it is that he did in the course of over 50,000 interviews. I'm sure you know that this is something that you need to do. Find other people too who are doing very good interviews and see how they've done these interviews. You must have some kind of technical skills. Everybody is going, everything is going digital now as it is. You must have those skills, acquire them. It helps you while you're on air so that you're able to discharge your duties and, of course, meet your tasks and also beat the deadline that your organization give you. It's also important for you to understand that there are best practices in journalism, in the media, in broadcasting, however you want to look at it. You must understand what those best practices are and try as much as you can to put them into practice. I want to read or read to you from my book. This is my book, actually. How did we get here? It is the 25 mistakes that every radio and TV presenter must avoid. This is a book that I wrote to share with young persons who want to go into broadcasting. All you need to do is just find what it is that this person has done and see how you can run away from those things. If I had a book like this when I was growing up like you, I wouldn't make some of the mistakes that I've now shared in this book. And I'm going to just give you a snippet into one of it, one of my favorites, one of my favorite chapters in the book is where people come and say, look, I'm a brand. It says self-branding like fame. It just doesn't happen overnight. It's a well-calculated, well-planned effort. You need to work on it. That's the truth. When I came into broadcasting 20 years ago, 2 decades ago, I never paid attention to the word brand. I needed to find me first before anything. You must find yourself. Who are you? You need to decide what that is. Because I knew that if I discovered who I truly was and what I wanted in the profession, then building a career in broadcast journalism would be a sweet flow for me. I set out to do just that. That was what I did. So the story of my journey is in my other book, Not Between My Legs, which chronicles my broadcast journey from DBN, where I was earning 8,000 naira, through, at this time that I wrote this book, through 14 other radio and TV stations. But here, I will focus on why you need to carefully craft your own brand in the job that you find or you have found yourself in. That's just me. I poured my mind out, and I will tell you the way it is, which is what I did here. Self-branding like fame just doesn't happen overnight. It's a well-calculated, well-planned effort that entails stringing together the materials that you need to present yourself as truly baked. You can't be half-baked and anybody will respect you. People want to identify with a good brand, so you must make efforts to do all that you can, from training and retraining in the aspects of the job where you are trying to forge your ground, so that you can stand your ground and give a good account of yourself. That's part of the things that you get in those books. And young people have gotten it, some of them in higher institutions. You need to find books like this and get to read them. They will help you, in the course of your work. Another colleague of mine has something, it's called The Power of an Editor. Mr. Virginia, of course, we know who Charles Carlo is. This is the only man who can write a news bulletin and hand it over to me, whether I'm in the studio or anywhere. Once he hands it over to me, I don't need to look at it twice, because he understands my flow, he understands my pitch, he understands my pulse, he understands my pace. So he knows how many things or how many scripts he'll put together to hand to me to read the news. And I pick it up, I get it to the studio, I deliver it. So you must find that person who understands you, the way you think and the way you deliver, so that you can get to work with the person. So as I said, I would want this conversation of ours to be a two-way street. I need you to ask your personal questions, so I will attempt to provide the answers that you need. So I want to keep it here, and this is for us to learn. When you have the opportunity to speak in a small group like this or in a large group, always try to keep it short and simple, so that people can ask their personal questions, and it also helps you to know if they followed or understand what it is that you were talking about. So let's open it now. Class captain, if you're there, I'll just urge you to moderate this. Let's know if people have their personal questions that they'd like to ask. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma, for that beautiful lecture. So everybody, you know how we do it. If you have any question, put up your hands and I'm going to call accordingly. Okay, we have Gift Kingsley. Please go ahead, unmute your mic and ask your question.
Okay, good day, ma. Very, very grateful for this opportunity. So I wanted to ask, the book you were reading from, how did we get here? Is it possible for us to get the book as a PDF or online? Because I'm actually considering reading the book. You said it's for broadcasters. Thank you.
Where are you exactly? Okay, so it depends on where it is that you are. The book can get to you. The online, no, I won't. I won't talk about online now. I'm just trying to put it online so that people can get it. But wherever you are, people have asked for it in the north. We found a way to get it across to them. So it's for you to speak with your class captain or speak with Mr. Virginia. He knows exactly how to reach me, and the book will definitely get across to you. It is something that everyone who's wanting to be a broadcaster should truly have. It will tell you about all of the mistakes I made. I almost got sacked because I mispronounced somebody's name, and I almost lost my job in the course of that. And my boss said to me, look, you understand Yoruba. How can you miss the name or mess up the name of a first-class Oba? And he gave me the correct pronunciation, and I put it in my head. So I put all of that in the book. It's about the good, the bad, the ugly, all the crazy things that happened to me in the course of the job. And for people to understand that these things happen, so people who have walked the path that you're walking, is like holding your hand and taking you through it. So your class captain will be able to organize that, and you know how to get it.
Okay, Esther Ukoma, please unmute your mic and ask your question.
Okay. Now, are there different levels of pitch for
Esther, the line is breaking.
you?
Esther, please use the chat box.
Can you hear me now, ma?
Okay, we can manage. Esther, are you there? Hello, Esther.
Okay, she's not. We are going to move forward. Harry, Esther, please unmute your mic and ask your question.
But you can also type it in the chat box so that the class captain can actually read it out.
Okay, you can also type your questions in the chat box. Miracle Okori, please unmute your mic and ask your question.
Hello, Miracle.
Okay, good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
I want to thank you for the experience you've shared so far. I'm also willing to get the book, but I want to go straight to my question. I want you to talk on confidence, confidence, control, and capability building when it comes to broadcasting.
Great. Okay, so I'll just quickly
Hello, can you hear me, ma?
confidence, yeah, control, and what? Confidence and control, yeah, in broadcasting. So, as I said
Capability
earlier on,
building.
and capability building.
Yeah, the capability.
And capability in broadcasting. Okay, so it is simple. If you understand your topic, that's the way to build your confidence. You cannot talk about what it is that you don't know. And I always say that to people. I'll share with you years ago when I was on Radio Continental, I was doing the game show and I gave out a question. I talked about it. People called in, some missed it. And one gentleman, I will never forget, he called in to tell me that what I was saying was wrong. And I allowed him finish. I didn't get angry to cut him off like today's broadcasters would do. I allowed him finish. Then I said, relax, I'm going to school you and tell you some things that you missed out. You probably just jumped on the program. So I told him it was about the interim national government and when Chief Ernest Shonekong was in the saddle. So I gave him a chronology of the things that happened. And the gentleman apologized right there on air. And he just said, look, I'm sorry, I didn't hear all of these parts. I'm sorry I jumped in. So you need to understand that if you know your subject, nobody can take you for granted. Even at my level, before the late Henry Boyle, before he died, if I'm going to interview that man, he's an economist, I will have to study like I'm going to write an exam. Because Henry Boyle will embarrass you on air if you don't have the facts. You know, it's about the economy. You must have facts and figures. You must give him timelines about what it is you're talking about. So you've got to be very confident. And confidence comes, you build it by having your content. Nobody says that you cannot write scripts. Look at the people in some of the international media organizations when we watch them. They have their sheets of paper. They have what you call that, the teleprompter, the transparent one. You see them there and they've prepared, they're working on it. Larry King, he used to have, I want to call it an army of producers. As big as Larry King was, he had producers, people who can put things together. But these days, you've got to be your own producer, sometimes your own presenter. So your confidence will come from the topic that you know, you have researched. Your control will come by having to master your speech band. Understand that I don't need to talk for more than 3 minutes. You talk for 2 minutes plus, you relax and allow the other person take over. And your capability comes when you test yourself. You sit down, you research properly, then you put a document. Those years when I used to be on radio every day, when I'm done with the program, I can tell myself that, look, I did a good job because I'm stepping out of the studio. I am confident that I gave a good account of myself. So I'm just hoping that people work towards that so that they can have that feeling when they do well. You know it by yourself, even if people don't tell you that you did great.
Okay, thank you, Ma.
Okay, thank you, ma.
Harry
Welcome.
Esther, please unmute your mic and ask your question.
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am. I will just get straight to the question. It was based on what the class captain said about you, because he said you are an investigative journalist, and you said we have to train and retrain ourselves to be good at what we do. So I wanted to ask, how do you train yourself to become an investigative journalist? Exactly.
Okay. So here we go. When you talk about training and retraining, like what you're doing now is you're training yourself, learning what it is that is expected of you as a broadcast journalist. Yes, I learned investigative journalism at the Radio Netherlands, as the RNTC in the Netherlands. So your question is, how do you train yourself to be an investigative journalist? It starts from the little thing that you're doing where you are. Something happens to someone. Perhaps there's a woman whose husband was beating her up until the time that the woman ended up in a body bag. How do you write that story? You are not going to meet the man to say, come, we heard that you killed your wife. Why did you beat her like that and all that and all that? You now sit in your house, you map out the things that you want to know. We want to know, when did this beating even start? So who are you going to be talking to? You're looking for the neighbors around the house where this thing happened. You're going to investigate that. You speak to the neighbors. Was it possible? Do you see the man when he beats his wife? Does she end up with a black eye? What was it like? Did you ever hear them shout? That's how you see people, these investigators, they go. And we need to understand that an investigation doesn't happen in 1 week. No, it could take months. Remember the lady who unearthed or opened up the story about sex for Max in that school in Ghana, and of course the one in Unilag. It was a year-long investigation. You will ask questions. You go to the malam on the street or the gate before the house where it happened. Just in passing, ask those questions, and you are noting the things that you need to know. When you have done this, you now get back to your house, you sit down, you put your story together. It is from there that you start. By the time you break the small stories, I had a story, someone called me up. When people hear those crazy stories, they send me a message. There was a woman somewhere, one of the villages in Imo State here, where the late husband's brother beat her up, threw her out of the house, almost burnt all her things because the woman is not from here and her husband had died. So somebody reached me. I sent a reporter. I wasn't in Owerri then. I sent a reporter to go and cover that story. I said, you can use it for your station. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you need to go cover the story. He covered that story, put it on the station's handle. The first lady of the state saw it, picked up that story, and that woman got help. So what I'm trying to say is, no matter how small, start that investigation as little as you can. And it goes by you just asking a question. That reporter went there, located the woman, asked her right in front of them, said, do pictures, do videos. It will help move it forward. It also means that you go about the street, look for people who need help, investigate. And you're asking that question, where are you from? What do you do? Why are you here? Why are you not in school? You will find out what it is that those people need. So you don't need so much to do small investigations. When it gets to the big one, where you're going to the police, you're going to the army. Remember the gentleman who had to commit a crime to enter the prisons, to go and investigate the madness happening in the prisons. And that's why they tell you that investigative journalism is not easy in Nigeria, because you can get killed. So you must decide how you want to do it. Make up your mind and take the bull by the horns. Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma, you did. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, ma. Deborah Amakri, please unmute your mic and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much, ma, for this lecture. I'm very grateful, ma.
You're welcome.
Okay, ma, I want to ask, when it has to do with casting, are there any challenges that you can brace up for when preparing for the media?
All right, Gloria, thank you so much. I also need you to understand, the word is ask, A-S-K, ask. Sometimes we mix it up with A-X-E, ask. So as a broadcaster, you have to always be at the top of your game. So you want to know if there are challenges and how you can brace up. There will always be challenges. I only share 25 mistakes here. There are 1,001 mistakes that you can make in broadcasting. How do you get ready for those mistakes? One, you've got to read books about people who have faced those challenges and how they were able to surpass them. You need to anticipate. I always use the word anticipate, envisage. And that's why, as a broadcaster, you must always leave a margin for error. It will happen. That's the truth. You can never be perfect. That is the truth. So leave that margin for error, deal with it. When there is a mistake, deal with it immediately and move on. Don't dwell on it. I used to have a staff. When she does something wrong and she's on air and you come and you scold her, you know how you switch off a tap or a light bulb on and off. When you speak to her while she's on air, you have just switched off the light bulb. You will feel it while she's on air. Her whole system is disorganized. Unlike some of us, if you like, come to the studio, shout, scream, yell, we're going back there and we're getting to do the job. So you must hone your skills. You must prepare yourself. There will be crazy people. There will be people who will talk down on you in the course of the job. People who will make you feel worthless. How are you going to deal with that when the time comes? You allow it get in here and it jumps out of this ear. You pick the things that concern you and you throw the rest away and move on. That's the truth. That's the only way I'm going to tell you that, because it's not going to be as rosy as people think it is. How did I get to this level? I just turned 50 this year, and people wonder, okay, you're just 50, very young, you're the director general, you have almost 200 or 150 people working under you. How? It is by a dint of hard work. I put in the work and I know it. So you must be sure of yourself. As I say to people, there's nothing you want to tell me in broadcasting that I will start thinking. Wake me up in the morning, I have it at the tip of my fingers, and it's by a dint of hard work. So you need to begin to put in the work now, so that in some years to come, every challenge that comes at you just bounces on you and bounces off. That's the way I think you should approach it. Gloria, I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ma. We are going to move to the chat box now, and Esther Ukoma is asking,
Okay.
are there different pitch levels or tones for the various aspects of journalism?
Are
And
there
how
what? Okay, different pitch levels or tones.
Yes, for the various aspects of journalism, and how can a beginner develop confidence on air?
Great. There are different pitch levels or tones. Okay, so this is a whole new class that you want us to delve into when we're talking about pitch and tone and levels and all of that. Yes, I'm at my best in the morning when I'm on radio. In the years I used to be on radio every day, you catch me at my best in the morning from 5 a.m. all the way to 10, and maybe when I'm doing Talk Nigeria till noon. But in the evening, yeah, I could be there, just get to do the job. I'm at my best in the morning. So every broadcaster needs to find when they are at their best. It will help you. So I'm an expert in morning programs. That's who I am. So when you talk about pitch and pace or pause and all of that, the voice you use in the morning is practically different from what you do at night. It's different from what you do in the afternoon. It's different from program to program. When you're presenting an entertainment program, it's different from the voice or style that you use to present a political program or a program that's talking about relationship, marriage, love, and all that. They are all different. So simply put, you need to find yourself, find what you're good at. Is it entertainment? Stick with it. Is it relationships? Stay with it. Is it politics? Stay with it. Whatever it is, that pace that you have will determine exactly where it is that you're going to be. You also asked about confidence. How do you develop it as a broadcast journalist? It's about knowing your subject. If you know your subject, if you know what you're talking about, then it just comes naturally and nobody can stop you when you start. So it's about knowing your subject, researching your topic, and being prepared for when it is that you're going on air.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. Victor Chia, please unmute your mic and ask your question.
Okay, can you hear me? Please confirm you hear me very well.
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. Please, my question is just closely related to the answer she just kind of touched. But I want to know because for a while I've been listening to some radio station and those who were working in the morning and they seemed very good at it, but they were later changed to a particular time of the day. So suppose someone is being changed to a particular time which he or she do not want. How can someone cope or manage to come out of that kind of situation?
How can you not want it? That's the job that you signed to do. You must find a way around it. That's what I will tell you. Find a way around it. And finding a way around it simply means that you will do your research. And whoever your manager is needs to understand that some people are good in the morning, some are good in the afternoon, some are good in the night. But with the exigencies, with what it is that's going on today, people are they're now merging roles and saying to people, as long as you're on air, you must be able to do it. It's like taking a sportscaster, someone who does sports, for instance, and you're saying the person should come to talk politics. I remember years ago, Charles Anazodo, he was my senior in broadcasting in Radio Nigeria where we were. Charles has always been about sports. So when they say, oh, we're going to talk politics, you're going to Abuja to read news, Charles says, Ify, I beg, I don't have time for all this news that you people are doing, please. You are the one to go to Abuja and stuff. You know, jocularly he says that. And it's to say, look, I'm facing my sports. That's who I am. And look at him today. When I watch him on Super Sports, I'm like, wow, this is who he is. And he's giving it his best. It's been the best that you can think of when you talk about sportscasters, you know, after our seniors as it is. So wherever you find yourself, you've got to reinvent. I always say to people, you either upgrade, reinvent yourself, or you find it that they push you out of what it is that you're doing. And you don't want to see yourself being pushed out. So find a way around it, glide into it, and just give it your best.
Okay, thank you, Ma. Miracle has one more question.
Okay.
Please, Mike can go ahead.
Okay, Ma. My question is, if you're anchoring the show and there's a politician there you need to interview, how do you interview these persons? Because I know that sometimes when you ask them certain questions, they try to, run away from it and then say another thing else. So how do you bring them back to
Give me an instance. Give me an instance.
I don't have an instance, man.
Okay, so let's look at it this way. Politicians are the most difficult people to get to interview. And as I said to you, you must have your facts. You must have those facts so that you're dishing it out and they're looking at you and wondering exactly how it is that you got to know about this thing. So as I said, if they try to parry the question, they don't want to answer that question, you just let it go. Later, before you round off the interview, you must come back to that question. Honorable, we have it on record here that X amount, you and your colleagues were asking for X amount of money to buy X number of vehicles. Now, when we work this out and look at the percentage of Nigerians who are falling below poverty level, what do you think should be the proper thing for you people to do as people who were voted into office to represent a sector of, you're just going to find a way around it. There must be a way that you must put it so that that person can actually open up to talk. And it comes by you practicing. You have to keep practicing. Because if a politician tells you no and you drop it, your owner is looking at you that you're not able to ask the hard questions. As an interviewer, as a broadcast journalist, your job is to ask the question that no one is asking. You must find a way around it, and that is true. It comes from practicing, and when you practice it, consistency will help you get there, and you can keep it there for a long time to come.
Okay, thank you, Ma.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. Does anybody have any other question? Please, if you have any other question, you can put up your hand. Okay, nobody. In the absence of further questions, thank you very much, Ma, for this very enlightening lecture. And thank you also, Mr. Sam Virginia, for bringing such a legend to lecture us. We are very, very grateful, Ma.
All right, then. Thank you very much to everyone who's giving me time. It's not easy to have people put out their time, 1 hour, allowing me in your space. I want to wish you well. And I'm saying to you, in the course of the profession, I don't want to scare you. There will be people who will tell you that you're not good enough. There will be people who will say things that will want to make you drop it and just walk away. Don't. Face where you're going, okay? Because it is greener on that side. Because when you get there, you're going to water it. So I'll just tell you, find the things that you can look for role models that you can actually latch onto and ask questions. If you ask questions, you'll never miss the way. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Right. Thank you very much, Ma. The class is
Thank you,
officially.
ma.
Thank you, Ma.
So
Thank
please head back
you.
and drop in your assignment. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.